Okay,
Wow.
we are live or are we live? Is it live or live?
Dude, I'm suffering from migraines. You can't keep doing that to me. You got that flashing lights and all that going on. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, welcome back, everyone. To whatever
my
just happened.
Goodness. This is,
So-
you know, I told you. I
You
told
did.
you.
You
Don't
did.
want to talk about that when I'm in this house. Anyways. So,
Yep.
should we wait for a minute or what should we do?
Let's just keep talking. I'm gonna send out the link while we're talking here. Post it back on Facebook
Right.
again.
So let me ask you. So let's talk about Swippy then. Let's go there. So how did that all begin for you, Swippy? Let's go. Spirit World Paranormal Investigations, of course, Swippy.
So
I got that right.
that was a whole nother situation. You know, nothing ever comes easy. You don't just like enter my life in an easy way. Like, you know how I hacked your show? Well, I became your best friend now. So
yeah,
we still got to talk about that.
Yeah.
No, we really
we
don't.
really do.
Anyway.
Oh, I've already got it loaded. We're going to show it on the show live.
No, we're not. No.
She's like, oh, no, you're not.
No. But I actually was with Deb DeRuse, and we were kind of promoting our Mystical Awakenings thing.
What?
And we were doing readings together, and we were, yes.
Mystical Awakenings.
Yes. Her and I were Mystical Awakenings. We created Mystical Awakenings.
There's a nugget of info. We'll touch on that too. Sorry. So go on. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of facets to me.
Yes, a lot of side.
You just gotta dig, and you'll figure it out.
I love it.
So,
hello, Anthony.
hello, Anthony. So where was I? Yeah, we were at the old mill, and we were doing an event there. We were selling our wares and our souls and whatever else we could sell. And I was sitting right next to the Swippy table, and they're like, oh, I've never seen you before. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of new to this kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't really do events. I don't know who any of these people are. And of course, John Zaffis was there. Had no idea who he was.
I love it.
Yeah, it was like I was totally clueless. And
perfect, actually.
It was perfect. I mean, it was a perfect evening. I was hacking into people's TV monitors with my phone, and I was turning TV monitors channels, and I was having a really good time until I got scolded and said, quit doing that, because now everybody's like, oh my gosh, there's a spirit in here, they're turning the so I had to rant myself out. I'm like, it was me, I did it was me. So any trouble I can get into, I try to find it.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
I know. So I was sitting next to Mike, which he's not any longer with our group, and he's like, you got to go downstairs to the basement. You have to check out the basement.
Yes.
Well, the basement was off limits at that time. When we have the Parafest, the basement's off limits to everybody.
Yeah.
So he kind of snuck me down there, and I'm like, oh, this is a little bit more than I can handle.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And we were getting things. I was feeling things. I was here. I'm like, let's go upstairs. Cause again, I am the big chicken of the group, and not every medium is a paranormal investigator. Let me assure you of that. So I went upstairs, and I still felt this weird feeling. And I'm like, I think we have a problem. and he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I have something that's like attached. It's not bad. I don't feel bad, but I'm pretty sure there's something attached to me. And so I said, let's go outside. I will take off as much clothing as I possibly can. It's winter because it's always November. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care who's out there. I will strip down naked if I have to. I have nothing on me. I said, use that little Geiger counter and tell me what is going on. And we were outside in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, and it's spiking. And I'm like, I told you, yeah, we need to take care of this before I do anything else right now. And that's how I met Adam.
Okay.
Adam was they put him in the engine room, that big boiler room there, and took a chair in there and set me down, and he did whatever he does and just ran it through me and got rid of it. And I mean, I felt it leave, which was really weird. And like, seriously, I'm so skeptical about this stuff. Like, I have a hard time talking about it because it's so unbelievable to me. And I was shocked. I was just shocked. And then they took me back outside, stripped me down, make sure I was clean. And then, you know, I was clean. And so they let me come back in and, you know, finish the night. But that's how I met everybody. And they were so like in awe that I could feel this, that they, you know, invited me to come back and hang out, and I did. And then they voted me in, and that was
nice.
it. Yeah, that was it. And I've been a faithful member ever since.
For all the years that you've been around, hanging around, investigating, offering tours of the haunted old mill.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing ever happened to you there?
I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of things happen. There's a lot of things that have happened at the mill. Nothing has been so terrifying that I will never go back. I mean, we've had a lot of EVPs, obviously, and what happened to you, because I got a whole lowdown of that. I got the whole lowdown of what happened to you guys.
Who told you? Who told you?
Everybody. I was Tim.
Wow,
Tim did, you know, but it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. What a place. I love it.
Yeah, it is.
I literally bought the t-shirt that day.
Yeah.
Haunted Old Mill. I had to get that I was like,
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I was supposed to be there, but I was sick. I couldn't. There was no way. I was coughing and coughing. I could not. I'm like, I couldn't go there and be coughing like a fool. And everybody's like, oh my God, she's got COVID. And I didn't. I tested a million times, but I was pretty sick. I was pretty sick that day. So, anyways, that's how I ended up in SWIPY and all these wonderful, I mean, they are the best people in the world. Like,
they're a good bunch.
I was in a team. I was in a team before them, and oh God, it was nothing. After I left that team, I thought, I'll never do this again. I will never. They took me into a demonic, and it was demonic, and I don't believe in demonic stuff. This guy was definitely possessed, and I should never have been there. I was not qualified to be there. They shouldn't have been there. It was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. And I thought, I'll never do this again. Again, a skeptical. I'm still a skeptical, okay? But you're seeing these things and you're like, how is this possible?
Yes.
How?
Now,
you know?
Can you give details on that or no?
Yeah, I mean, I had been invited to this group, and then they said, oh, well, let's go on this first investigation of this, you know, blah, blah, blah. There was a psychologist there. There was a doctor. There was a priest, which no, he wasn't. I don't believe that. There was other people there, and I was there. I was a novice. I've never been involved in anything like this in my entire life. Never. Well, they got to the house, and it was a $2 million house. The guy was a contractor. The house was enormous. It was beautiful. And the guy was not there that was having the problems. And I'm like, okay, well, where is this guy? You know, I'm not sitting here all night because I'm terrified as it is. I want out of this. And, you know, you don't go into things like this scared. And I had a shadow visit the night prior. a shadow visit from a shadow
Yeah.
figure.
Nice. Love
Calling
them.
me horrid, obscene names. I was
Do you
like,
think
Yeah.
that house knew you were coming? We've heard that how many times?
absolutely. I
Okay.
never believed that in my entire, yes, 100%. Scared the hell out of me. I called this guy that's supposed to be the priest and I said,
Yes.
listen, this is what's happening. I mean, I called him at midnight. I said, I'm not going. He's like, you can't let this shit scare you. I'm like, well, it's scaring me because I am not happy right now. This thing's in my bathroom and I can see it from my bed. And it's
Amazing.
calling me names like
Amazing.
the B word, the C word, things that I was like, I'm like, what is happening? And
No kidding.
it was horrifying. And so we went to this guy's house. He's not there and he's not coming home because he knows we're there. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not coming home. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, this is really getting out of control. I'm like, I wish I would have driven myself because I'm driving myself right back home right now. You know, I said, I don't even know why I came. And he ended up 3 hours. He came home. And he was you could look at him and he was a mess. He was 6'4" guy. He was huge.
Yeah.
Big, huge construction worker, just huge, very twisted in the face. And we had been walking around the house cleansing the house while he was gone.
Yeah.
And he walked in and he was just, I mean, the hair on the back of my head standing up, and he was just, I mean, he's just like looking like the devil. And I've never seen anything like it. They sit him physically down in this reclining chair, and I'm like forcefully, and everybody puts their hands on him, and you know, this priest is doing these prayers. This guy is starting to freak out. Take his shoes off. Take his shoes off. They're yelling at me. Take his shoes off. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go home. I need to go outside. No, you're not leaving. I'm like, no, okay. Why did you get me into this? So I take his shoes off, and you know, I'm just trying to stay calm myself. And this guy was thrashing. This is a guy who builds $1 million homes for very wealthy people.
Yeah.
And he was thrashing around, and he was screaming, and he was swearing, and I was crying, and he didn't care. He passed out. He passed out.
Wow.
And yeah, about a half hour into it, he passed out, and I thought he was dead. I'm on the phone. I'm like, should we call 911? What should we do? You know, this is not in my freaking scope of things to do. I don't know. I don't like this. Well, I didn't call 911. I did walk out and I didn't go back in. But he did come to, and he was crying. He was sobbing. Like I could hear him from the front porch, just sobbing. So yeah, that was it. I was just, that was a little intense even to remember. How was it for you?
That was
that you know, but that is, I mean, me and Michael John ourselves were a part of an exorcism last year. So, I mean, we can almost relate to what you went through. The only part that we did not have to witness was the person thrashing and being resistant, because this was more, it was I mean, the priest the priest that we were working with, the bishop, he was working with her for almost 2 years before it got to the point where we actually got there to do the actual exorcism.
Yeah.
So by this time, I mean, most of the work was just the formality of doing the final blessing and the ceremony, and to cleansing herself, and to finally release what was left of the demonic entity that was supposedly inside. But I mean, it was a very surreal thing to be a part of and to witness. because, as a paranormal investigator, it's not something you would actually think that you would become a part of, because
Right.
yeah, I mean, you think that's a made for TV thing, but we know it happens because, I mean, Michael John or myself, we know a few people and have met a few people that do exorcisms and stuff like that, but it's not something you get to witness to. And what you got to witness was obviously the ugly side of an exorcism, because obviously it was a lot more advanced than what we dealt with, but at the same time, I mean, that you still walk in, you're like, should we even be here? Because it seems like terrifying. Of course, the scenes of The Exorcist are running through your head, like you're expected to see puking pea soup going across the floor, spinning heads.
I was happy to be down at his feet. Trust me, I was very happy near his feet. It was wicked. Yeah. It's something I will never forget, never in my life. But I do want to finish the story about my mom, because it was such an incredible story. So, and it was at my house, and it wasn't scary like some of the other things have happened, but hopefully we don't lose the feed again. If we do, we'll know why.
Everybody, put your hands up so we cannot be touching the screen.
So she was at my house. I had picked her up, and we brought her, and she was sitting on the couch. She was very lucid. She knew, she knew who I was. She knew who everybody was. She knew my dog. She wasn't like losing her mind crazy. She had a little bit of dementia, but she wasn't completely gone, like crazy gone. So she's sitting on my couch, and I have a couch that's like round, like round like that. So I was sitting on one end with my back facing my dining room area. Yeah. She was sitting on the other side with her side facing the dining room, and she was acting really weird. She's looking, and I'm like, "What's going on, Mom?" And she says, "Who are all those people in your dining room?" And I'm like, "Huh?" Like, I mean, she was end of life for sure, but who are all those people? And I'm like, okay, what people? Oh, just those people. I'm like, I did it. I said it. I said, I don't see anybody. And she's like, I was afraid of that. And I wish I would never have said that. I just wish I would have said, oh, they're my friends, whatever. But right. I didn't. And she made she followed this, I'm going to say entity, this entity, like with her eyes, to stand right next to me. And Whoa. She looked at him and she said, "Where's your wife?" And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I don't handle things like this very well. I'm like, okay, maybe we should go home. Maybe we should get home now. So I scooped her up, took her home back to her place. And, the next weekend, my mother-in-law came, Mark's mom, and she stayed in the bedroom. She stayed for a couple days, no big deal. And she came out of the bedroom one morning and said, somebody came and like walked into the bedroom. I thought it was one of Jared's friends, my son. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. What'd you say to him? She's like, well, I asked him who it was, and he said it's Jim. And then he walked around the side of she's like, what do you want? And he didn't say anything. And he walked down around the side of the bed and walked into the closet and disappeared. Wow. I'm like, oh my God. And we never told her about what happened to my mom, the weekend prior. Yeah. So there's a lot of activity in my house. Always. It's always active. I think my mom has calmed. She's since passed. And I think that she's probably calmed things down, because I haven't had a whole lot of stuff going on at this point. So I'm pretty happy about that. You know what I mean? I think she's like really guarding my house now or something. But yeah, she, the veil, when the veil is thinning, when you're getting ready to pass, and she passed within less than a month of that incident. It's really interesting to see how close you really are to the other side, and really, I don't know, it really changed my life when that happened. Really changed it.
That's quite a statement, and it's interesting. A lot of people, and I know Dale really understands this, as do I, losing a parent.
Mm-hmm.
It really, I mean, I lost my father. I'm 51. I lost my father when I was 25.
Wow.
But a lot of things changed spirit world wise. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
things start. He died suddenly of a heart attack. But I started doing things. I started learning things, reaching out, because I wanted to communicate with him. So I started doing that. So I'm relating to what you're saying without getting into my stuff. It's not about me right now. But yeah, it's right, Dale. I mean, for yourself even, right?
Oh yeah. When you lose a parent, and especially somebody that you're truly close to, it is a different perspective. But yeah, when they come to visit from the other side, like I know instantly when my father is around me. So yeah, it puts a different perspective on things as well. But so yeah, more than likely your mother's over there kicking all the negativity out of your house, going, nope, next door, buddy, go next door.
I haven't had any. Honestly, I've not had any issues at all since she's gone. It's weird, and she's been gone almost. Well, it's been a year and a half now. So
yeah.
Thank goodness. I mean, I would have boots walking. I'd have things moving physically in my house. Yeah. I mean, it was a lot. There was a lot.
That's
going
next
on.
level stuff, girl. Wow.
Nonstop. And I'm not kidding. Even to the point where it started to affect my husband, who is, he's it's not that he's a non-believer, but he's a non-experiencer. So he's now an experiencer. So it's like,
right.
Oh yeah, it was something. Yeah.
So Deb, I really want to talk about a project that you're a part of. It's called Project Missing Search and Rescue.
Yes.
How? Now, tell us what it is about, and tell us what brought you to create such an amazing project. I mean, it is, and what you do is absolutely fascinating.
Thank you. I came again, Deb DeRoos. I met Deb DeRoos on an investigation that we were on for a missing, and we just became such quick friends, and we had so much in common. And there was another person involved. His name is Jamie. And the three of us kind of got together, and we started doing radio together, or Facebook. We always called it radio because it was actually Sam Broadcaster before Facebook Live, So we started we call it radio. So I've always called it radio. And, we just started doing missing cases, and I had already been doing missing cases with Jamie, and Deb got involved, and we started just, how can we get the word out about these missing people? Because there's so many. And so we just created Project Missing Search and Rescue, and we post our missing people on that. When we hear of a missing, we start, that's super important when you have a missing person, is to get it out into the media and get it out into, social media, just blast it everywhere. One of our missing people was actually found by a Facebook post, not that I made, but that somebody made, and she was actually had amnesia, and she's a friend of mine on Facebook. She's probably not watching, I don't think, but she actually had amnesia, did not know who she was. She ended up in Chicago from down south, from Tennessee or somewhere.
Wow.
Drove all the way to Chicago and was in the hospital. Had no idea who she was, how she got there, nothing. And somebody saw the Facebook post and recognized her and said, "Oh, this is this da 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 da," and
Yeah.
you know, she was found. So it's super important to get the, you know, word out the minute you have a missing.
So I want to ask regarding that. I mean, what is the furthest you've, like, I mean, you obviously go, I'd imagine you go on site to a lot of places with your ability. And what do you label? You're a medium, but what's the evidential medium is what you're called.
Evidential medium. Right. So
okay.
I collect clues for investigators, police, whoever, you know, missing person teams.
Yeah.
I collect the clues to lead them to where they need to go. Okay. Sometimes, I mean, I do suffer from PTSD because I was not trained in this area. So I have seen things that nobody should see. Not just in person, but, you know, through remote viewing, through other means. You know, it is, you know, one of the worst cases I ever did was out in the west part of Michigan, and it was a woman that was missing, and the investigator kept calling me. I couldn't be there. I had another appointment. I had to be at this other appointment.
Yeah.
And I was in the car, and I just got this horrific flash of all this blood in the snow. So I'm trying to call this investigator. I'm calling everybody on the scene, and I'm like, and nobody's answering the phone until somebody finally did. And I'm like, you are either going to walk up onto this scene, or you are about to walk up, or something's happening. I said, you're going to see blood in the snow. And she's like, I see it right now. And I said, just keep following that trail. I said, you are going to see blood on a tree. But I mean, I saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
And as cool as that sounds,
no,
it's not cool.
It's not.
No,
it's not.
It's incredible.
It's weird, and it's stressful, and it's, you know, and so I said, you're going to find 2 women, and one of them is going to be over here. The other one's going to be over here. And that's what they found. And I was like, oh, but you got to remember too, that I'm dealing with investigators, and some have never worked with me. Sometimes they want to know, how do you know this? You know,
right.
I've had you know, you need to come in. We need to talk to you. You need to give us your driver's license. You know, I mean, I've had some stuff.
Now, so it's all based on remote viewing. Is that
not always? No, I mean, I've had I've flown to Texas to help out with a search down there. I've remote viewed. Most of my stuff was, you know, I had a cadaver dog, a trained cadaver dog, trained.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And well, it was the easiest way for me to work with the media, always on my tail, always. And so they didn't know the side of me of the mediumship side. They knew the side of the search and rescue with the dog team. So I kept the mediumship side Zippo and always worked with a dog team, but we had always had media, you know, channel 2, 4, 7, all those news stations following us around. It's like, I can't work when I'm being, you know, I have a lady that's following me around. I'm in the woods. I'm in boots and gear. She's in high heels and nylons. And I'm like, you can't be doing this. I'm worried about you, you know, and
that's nuts.
You know, you really need to stop.
Hey, what's happening?
She followed us. I was shocked. I know.
Right.
It was shocking that she would do that. But, you know, that's all she wanted, a story. And I mean, I got it. But geez, man, your safety is what I'm worried about now. Not necessarily anything else right this minute.
Right. And how hard to focus when you have that distraction.
Right. Exactly.
You know, whether she's wearing high heels or not, the fact you got someone there trying to get a story from you at the same time.
Sure.
Like,
it was maddening.
Go.
It was maddening.
Can't imagine.
I've had to like outrun the media. I've had it was just a lot. And I ended up just kind of, the dog team kind of split up. I was, my dog passed away about a year ago, and
Sorry.
it's okay. He was a great dog, and it was his time. He was ready. And I just was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't be out there doing this anymore. So most of my time for the last 5 to 6 years have been spent behind the scenes of, just doing the remote viewing and working on cases. I mean, I've worked on terrible cases, just terrible, just heartbreaking children that have been murdered. It's just, how do you, it's just terrible cases. Anyway, yeah.
That's but I mean, you are also at the same time, as hard as that is. I mean, you're still out there. You're doing something wonderful. You're trying. I the best of your ability. You're trying to bring these people back alive and safe, and hope to God that they're just like that person ended up in Chicago in a hospital, not knowing why she was. Those are the heartfelt stories, and those are the ones that we like to hear. I mean, I could.
I only have 2 of those stories. I only have 2 living stories. I can't find living people. I can only find dead people. Only dead.
I mean, in these cases, I mean, I can't imagine what you've gone through, let alone these families. But I mean, I guess if there is a positive side to it, there's closure for people.
Right. And that's what I'm all about. I'm also a minister, so I do, and I take that side very, very seriously. Come on. I take that side of my life seriously because I minister to the missing, and I minister to the people who've crossed over, and I minister to their families. So I can encompass all of it. When I find a missing, I can actually help the families connect with their missing again for closure. Yes. Not necessarily closure, because you never can get over it. I mean, you just can't. But I'm very close to my families of the missing.
Yeah,
always. Yeah, I'm always available, even 5-10 years later.
And I mean, I guess that is probably important too, just like everything else. Like we have talked on this show in the past how people that are affected by paranormal experiences, people that are affected by a missing persons case, I mean, the aftercare is so much more important.
It is.
Than finding the person, getting closure, whatever that might be, but the aftercare, because these families, I mean, in most missing persons cases that you had to deal with, unfortunately, the people have passed. So that means people were taken away from the families way before their time.
Right.
So it's a shock, especially when it comes to children and young people, because, as a parent myself, I would never dream of what it would be like to bury any of my kids.
Right.
But I've had friends who have passed, and I had to watch their families go through that of burying their own children. And I'll tell you, that's got to be devastating. So the aftercare and knowing that you're always there for them, that is truly amazing. And, thank you for stepping up and doing that, because that's got to be just as difficult as telling somebody, well, I'm sorry, but your child is not coming home.
Right. I mean, one of the worst cases that I had to deal with was, and if anybody watches anything about the missing or the news or anything, they'll know about this, was a little boy who was autistic, who wandered away from his grandmother's house. And I was called in on the case, and immediately I knew where that boy was. I mean, it didn't take me 2 seconds, and I knew that he wasn't with us anymore.
Yes.
Right.
but I knew exactly where he was. I knew he was in this pond in front of his grandmother's house.
Oh.
And I told the investigator, and he said, well, we searched that pond already. And I said, and this is the part that's really frustrating to me. And I said, you have to search that pond again. He's like, well, we already did. And I said, no. Like, and so I'm thinking, it's hard for me to understand that I'm in a panic. I need this done. But it's too late. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So whether they search it right this minute or not,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter as long as they commit to searching it at some point again. So they brought in divers and an ice, that specialized in the underwater, and they found him. And I was just like, I had so many weird emotions that I've never had. Like I felt guilty. I felt heartbroken. I felt angry. I was, it was just so many emotions that I just didn't know how to deal with it. I mean, this is a boy, a little autistic boy that, he didn't have his coat on or anything. And I am there with him. I see him, and I know that, so it really takes a toll. It really takes a toll, so
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah.
I noticed something. We're going to segue away from that. On your profile, in the about section where it's all proper and I can read the right things.
Oh, geez. Don't.
We have following the haunted trail. What is that? What is that?
So that was that was another thing that I was involved in.
Like,
I love the name so much that I branded it. I own it. I own the name. But
yes,
that was another project that I was gonna get started in before I got into the missing. Not before I got into the missing. I was involved in the missing, but it was just about, we wanted to take people along on journeys through haunted things, like haunted places and we thought about doing a tour bus, and we thought about, just doing blah, 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 walking, blah, blah, blah. But it just never happened. But I loved it so much still that I kept it. I just still love it. Following the Haunted Trail. I love that. Yeah.
That's like a TV show name. It's so
I
amazing.
know.
I love it. Great.
Somebody can buy it from me if they want.
Hey, put it out there now. www.DeBuskMarcum.com.
Yeah. You can see the opening scene of the show would be a big bus showing up with the name on the side of the bus.
Right.
Debbie jumping off and saying, "Hey, let's go on a haunted ride."
Yeah, but Debbie doesn't do haunted now, so it's okay. Debbie would rather not do haunted.
With the Project Missing Search and Rescue. So I'm a fan of listening to, and I've actually lost sight of it. I got to get back into that rabbit hole of Dave Politis, Missing 411. Have you ever worked with him or any of his cases that he's talked about?
No. I have worked all over the place, but it's hard to, I love working with certain people. Like, there's some investigators I work so well with, and we're so close. I have a private investigator that I worked with for quite some time, and we worked really well together. But you really have to be in tune with the person you're working with, because this is how I tell it. I'm like a dog, and they're like my master. So they have to take my cues and lead me. I lead them in the direction. Yeah. But they have to, they have to know exactly what to look for. So if I have to go potty, they're going to know. Right. So if I'm a lot of times when I'm getting into a situation where there's a deceased person and I'm getting close, I tend to pull the other way. So I go the opposite direction, because I don't want to be in that space with them. Right. So my investigator will know, well, okay, you're going that way. We got to go this way. And we essentially find a body. So you really have to be in tune with the person that you're working with. I mean, it's a science, really.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a science. I just don't go out in the middle of the thing and go, okay, let's I can't do that.
Just look around and go, there you go,
right,
over there.
Right. Yeah.
Totally
I did one time. There was a private investigator who called me in the middle of the night, and or a detective. It wasn't I don't remember who it was. It was a detective or an investigator. Called me in the middle of the night and was telling me about this private investigator who was missing and blah, 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 blah. Don't ever do that to me, because all night long I was up. I had a conversation with this man who was deceased, and he showed me where he was, told me what he did. So graphic. He had shot himself. He couldn't decide how to do it so that he would die instantly. He was in this wooded area in Flint, and he took me right to where he was. And I was by the time the morning came, I was on the phone. I'm like, like a freaking crazy woman. I'm like, and don't ever call me in the middle of the night again with this, because he was already deceased and I could have slept and I would have been okay. But it was just so insane. And I had so much graphic detail that to the exact part where he was sitting against a tree, exactly how the gun was sitting, exactly how his hands were, exactly what he was wearing, that they took pictures of him and sent them to me. And I was like,
why?
Don't do that to me.
Don't do that. I've already seen it. I know.
Yeah.
But people get so like wrapped up in, oh my gosh, look at this. This is what she said. And it really, just trust me. You don't have to, I don't, just trust me. Right. I'm doing what I'm doing, and you can just trust me. Don't show me. Yeah. Don't show me.
Yeah.
Please.
So with what you do now, is it only law enforcement that reaches out to you, or have you had families try to reach out to you?
I worked with a family one time, and I do have families that reach out to me. I worked with a family one time and probably won't ever do that again. I always have a middleman, because I have to be graphic and I have to be able to say, okay, this is what's happening. This is where we need to, but I felt so bad for this lady, and she sent me, well, she was just, her sister was missing, and it was in Kentucky or Louisiana or something. I try not to remember where it was at, but I keep my families close, but I don't like to remember all that stuff. But she was trying to get a hold of me, finally got a hold of me. My sister's missing. She's been missing for several months. I don't know what to do. I know who did it. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, let me first see if she's actually missing or where she's at. And so I was able to, verify, yep, she's deceased. And this is such a hard one, because it was just so emotional. I told her I work off of a map. So I'll look at a map and I'll say, okay, well, here, I need you to go to this place and take pictures.
Yeah.
And so I gave her the map and where she needed to, and so that's not good for a family to do that. You know what I mean? Even though she was insistent she could handle it. I've got this. I know I can handle this. Okay. I bent my rule and I did it. And I sent her to this place. I said, I want a picture of this, this, and this. 3 pictures. I want 3 pictures. She did. She went out there, and the third place that I sent her, her sister's clothes were washed up on the from the water.
Wow.
And she had me on the phone screaming. And I'm like, I don't know how to handle that part of it. Right. Cause I talk to quiet people who are deceased. I'm not used to the emotional part from the family when it's actually that fresh. And so she's screaming. And I'm like, okay, you need to call the police. I can't call the police. and some of the clothes items were hers.
Right.
So, which
What?
really was crazy. So I hung up with her. She called the police. The police are calling me. They say, okay, what do we need to do? I said, I don't think there's really anything you can do because there's there's biting fish in there. We're in the lake that she was at. Yeah, they were biting fish, but they went out anyway, on a boat, and they called me while they were on this boat, and I'm like, I don't really work this way. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you she's there. You saw that the clothes were there. I said, I am telling you that's where she was, but that's all I can do for you. I can't tell you where in the lake she's at. She's probably, they're like piranha or something in this lake. And
I see. Yeah. So she could be gone. Yeah. Completely gone.
It was really sad. It was really sad. That was a hard one for me. Hearing that emotion, like, man, it was stressful. So
I can't imagine. Wow, you've really, I mean, for what you do in this respect, you have personally sacrificed a lot. And I mean, I don't to say I admire you is an understatement for what you do and what you go through for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible, Deb. I mean, wow.
Why do I do it? I don't even know.
That was an
I mean, I don't. It's not for kudos or self gratification, but I've never had a missing person in my life. And, everybody always asks me, what brought you to this? And I guess just watching the people who are suffering for their loved one so much for answers. Like I put myself in their shoes, and I can't even imagine my daughter going missing and never knowing what happened or where she is or what, I just can't. So that's why I do it, I think. Yeah, it certainly isn't for anything else.
Well, I mean, we all have a calling in life, and I mean, this is probably your calling I mean, maybe not in this lifetime you've ever had to experience that, and thank God you have not.
Right.
But maybe in a past lifetime, if you're a person that believes in past lives, maybe it was something, maybe you were a missing person in a past life, and now you were reincarnated into the beautiful lady we see here today, who is now out there helping people to solve and go to help them get through what they need to go through. So, I mean, the universe is a fascinating thing, as we can see. People out there are doing extraordinary things, and you are one of those people.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's weird though. I mean, how do you do it? I don't know, but I do it. I know it. I know I can do it. I've done it. So it's like, how do you find somebody who's passed away? I don't know. How do you do it? I just do it. Who knows?
And that's the beautiful world we live in. But no, it is. I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary, and you hear about it all the time. How mediums or people are helping the police out there trying to find people. And here you are talking to us today, and that's absolutely amazing that we can say, like, we know somebody that does that, and that is spectacular for doing it, because, a lot of people probably couldn't even do a third of what you do because, one, they probably don't have compassion enough to do it, where you're a very compassionate person. So
I think I don't know. I don't talk about it a whole lot. I mean,
sure,
we don't talk about it. I don't.
Right.
I just do it. It's just what I do. I don't talk about it. I don't think it's necessary to talk about it all the time. It makes me feel like, oh, thank you. Who said that?
That would be Miss Sherry Scott, a good friend of mine. So, she can. She's had a traumatic experience in her life. She lost her son. He wasn't missing or anything, but
right.
So she is one of those people.
Yeah.
she is one of those people that I know that had to bury a child, and like I said, it is very. And I watched her go through what she had to, and like I said, it's rough,
devastating.
and
it is. And people like that's another thing, I always feel like people who need to hear what I have to say, or to even get a reading from me, they always find me. Always find me. It's like everybody is put in my path that needs to be put in my path. And I am like one of those people who don't believe in monetary things. It's like, oh, who's that?
That would be Candace Isaacson.
Oh, Candace. I love her. I love her.
We all love Candace. She's a beautiful soul too.
She's a doll.
She is a doll. She is. Yeah, she is. So yeah, I mean, I guess you have to be humble in your life, and you have to you got to do what you got to do.
Sorry, got a cramp.
Oh no! Cramp.
Ouch! That hurt.
Oh, you poor man.
It must have been one of my people over here coming to pay you a visit.
I'm telling you.
Pitching me, going, "Hey, stop picking on her."
Oh, I don't know. I just wish everybody was, loving and caring and giving, and everybody that I'm in contact with is. I mean, I have never met anybody in my life that's been. I have met a couple people that I could, but I mean, for the majority, most of the people in my life are extremely giving and loving and caring, and I could call any one of them, any one of you, and be, hey, I need this. And that's how I met Exie. Called me out of the blue and I'd never met her before, and she's like, and this was years ago, and she's like, can you come and help me with this house? I'm like, absolutely, I'll come help you with this house. And she'd never done one or something, and I'm like, absolutely, I'll be there, and so that's what it's all about. It's about just giving of yourself, and it gives you so much in return, so much.
Yeah, Exie, definitely one of the greats for sure. Another one of the greats. We're really fortunate here, like to call her a friend as well, like another yourself. So I love hearing the stories on how everybody's met. That's like the cool stuff. That's stuff.
We're the old gang. I told Michael, I said, you thought I was a newbie when I showed up at your front of your table.
I did. Meanwhile, oh my God,
ain't no newbie here.
You've been treading water for a while with the best of
them.
A
long time.
I love it. I love that.
I always loved the way that I met Deb was walking through. I think it was the second year I was at the Old Mill Parafest, and I was carrying
this, Michael. You'll appreciate this. This is literally how we met. Okay.
And I was walking through, drinking my coffee, and what is she? She looked at me and goes, "Well, where the hell's my coffee?"
I'm in the camper. I was in the camper outside, because I always drove my motorhome to the mill on those nights, and I stayed there. And I'm like, I'm in the camper out in the driveway. I said, I don't want to see you come here again without me having coffee. I'm not even a coffee drinker.
Right.
He brought me coffee.
Did he? Of course he did.
Yeah. I sure did.
He did.
Oh, but, and that's how this beautiful friendship began, over a coffee.
It's true. It's true.
I
drank it too.
It's funny with the Old Mill. I have memories at a few Paracons, Parafests. Not all of them. Not like the mill. I've had something significant happen to me each time. Somehow, some way, meeting someone, meeting people, experiencing, doing things, reaching goals, on and on and on. The Old Mill is really a place where I could stamp and say, oh my God, I've done so much there. I've had so many experiences there in so many positive ways. So
it's amazing. It's amazing. Same with me. I've kind of backed off the last few years. doing anything. Well, I told you that like 5 years I haven't really been out doing anything.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of introverted, working on missing cases only, not really doing any readings, just trying to regroup, because I had the thing with my mom, and that was a long, stressful ordeal, and moved her in with me, then moved her out and moved her, it was a lot. And so I had to take time for myself. And when I left doing the radio with Deb DeRusse, I told her, I said, well, I think I'm just going to go and do ceramics and craft. And do you know Carly? You don't know Carly? Okay,
I think the name sounds familiar.
Okay, so Carly and Deb are friends, and Carly lives with Deb and RJ. And
yes, I met her at the store when I was at the store one day.
Right. Okay, so she got a hold of me, and she says, "You're leaving the paranormal to craft? Are you crazy? You're leaving the radio show to craft? I can't believe you're doing this." And I'm like, dude, just calm down, because I have to do this for myself. I'm gonna go crazy if you don't let me go. Let me go. So yeah, I did. And Carly's never recovered from that. When we were at that UFO con, I was at another event, Witches Weekend in Houghton Lake, and she came up to me and she said, "I can't believe you left to craft, but you really do craft good." So yeah, I did. I left to craft. Oh well.
Who's this? Hi, Gail and Mike and Gas.
Let's see who. Oh, that would be my beautiful mother. She's tuning into the show.
Hi, Mom. I love that. I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah, she tunes in as well and says we love that she watches.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Showing her support. We're lucky that way. Sure.
But
that's awesome.
Deb, it has been an absolute pleasure to be able to spend some time with you and to catch up on some old times.
Yeah.
We do miss you every time I go to the old mill. It's like I always expect to see you come walking around the corner to say something smart ass to me, and I miss it.
I know. I can't help it. I know. Now I saw you at the UFO con.
I know.
I know. That's what, I know. I got to get back out more places, and I do. I feel
you are
good.
So much fun to be around. Oh my God.
Well, we just know as show hosts we can't leave our computer unattended. Apparently,
right on.
Yeah.
If I've ever taught you anything, I hope that was a good lesson for you.
Oh no! Gosh. You know what? We love you. We love Tim, and we love Brad, and we love everybody. I mean, everybody who has supported us and doing what we do. We love you guys. I mean, I have loved you for a while. You are always amazing, and I could be having the crappiest day, and you are that shining light that brings back the smile on my face. So just know that you are amazing to be around. So
I'm glad you say that. I don't like being around myself half the time, so it's okay.
We're
my husband down here for this too, because he doesn't like being around me either. So,
he's the luckiest man in the world. He gets to enjoy that 24/7.
Can we do this once a week so that I can feel good?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, I'm on
it. Take turns. Yes,
that's right.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
All right. Well, you see, when me and Michael John need one of us can't make it, we'll make you the side co-host.
Yeah. I mean, we could tag team. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let's add more projects to Deb's life.
Why not? Yeah. I craft. That's all I do is craft now. I don't do anything else.
But you craft and you find missing people. You're pretty busy.
I do. I am a little, but sometimes there aren't missing people to find. So what do I do then?
Craft.
Yeah. And I've got arthritis now, so I need to stop that a little bit. Back off. My doctor says, back off. Yeah.
Oh my God! What an amazing hour! Thank you, Deb, so much. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to hang out with us here at the TPV Nation. You're always welcome back on the show anytime you want, and you know Michael, John, and myself are always there for you if you ever need anything.
I appreciate that, and I'm always here for you guys. I'll straighten Michael out. I got Michael's back now. I've been working on him pretty good the last 2 days.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a work in progress, and I welcome it, of course. Thank you, by the way. Thank you to everybody, of course. All the creeps, the freaks, the weirdos that make up the TPV Nation from day one to day now. If it wasn't for your support, if it wasn't for all these great guests like Debbie DeBusk Marcum right here, right now, we don't get to do, Dale and myself, what we're doing, and that is this right here, right now, bringing you content that we love, all the good stuff, all the time, paranormal from A to the Z, folks. But we will see you all on the other side, I guess. But in the meantime, and in between time, happy haunting.
Happy hauntings.